What is up, guys? It is the Scarlet Duelist, back again with yet another video that I'm confident calling pretty good. This is my Crusadia deck profile, technically Crusadia Orcus due to the side deck, but majorly it uses, I don't think majorly is the right word, but it mostly uses just the Crusadia cards, and the strategy for this deck is to open on at least 2 level 4s and a Crusadia monster. And if you get that, you essentially have game. And there are other ways you can have game too, but yeah, this is a going second on purpose deck that I think is even more effective than Mech Knight Invoked, which I know I've made mine to be able to go first as well, but I'll explain why I think this is a little better. And it did see some success at locals. I won 2 of my 3 matches, and I won 1 game in that lost match. So therefore I won 5 of 8. I'm losing track now. I think it was 5 of 8 games. So with the majority of that being wins, I'm going to count that as a victory for the deck. So let me talk about why it kind of didn't do well and did do well at certain times. And then we'll move on with the profile. This will be very brief, but if you would like to skip ahead 2 minutes just to get to the profile, go for it. So basically, real quick, the reason that I think it did just kind of mild was, now, no offense to him because he plays very well, and the victories were his. He got them. I'm not trying to take away from that, but at locals, I ended up playing one of the guys that's one of my best friends, but we play each other so much that we both know the ins and outs of our decks. So I think if I could have had a little more element of surprise, I think it would have won that, my third match that I had, the third matchup, but I didn't. And so he knew exactly how to take it down and he did it well. So he deserves the win. Just want to make that clear. I'm not taking the win away. But yeah, when someone knows what you're playing like beforehand, it's a little bit tougher. So not to make excuses, he played very well and deserved his victory, but it was against my friend James who played Salamangrates, and it was a pretty tough match still even then. I won 1 game out of it, but couldn't get game 3, and that happens. So yeah, but otherwise I didn't lose the rest of the day, and it did really, really well. It did exactly what I wanted it to do because I used math. So basically, before I go into the profile, I'll explain why this was so successful. So the overall strategy is mathematically going to happen for you almost 70% of the time. I've gotten online and done the number generators to calculate the probability of opening on the winning strategy. And the main goal is available 70% of the time. And then the main goal with back row hate included will take place 40% of the time, which is still a pretty high percentage for wanting specific cards. So this deck is built to mathematically win, which is something that I'm new to. I know it sounds weird because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is math, but I tend to just build decks and not always think about the numbers part. But now that I've started, a lot of the deck building that I've been doing has been a lot more successful. So your main goal is to open on at least 2 level 4s that can inherently summon, which is all of these that I'm clicking on right now. And then at least 1 Crusadia monster. You have 14 of both. And you have 13 Crusadia monsters, but when you put reinforcement of the army in here, that is a guaranteed Arborea. So that makes it 14. That might sound weird, but this basically is another Crusadia card, and I could even up the number of Crusadias if I wanted to, but I haven't needed to yet. But if you're not comfortable with those percentages and you want to make them a little bit higher, you could always do that. But yeah, I just have it the way it is because it works. But anyway, your main goal, the 70% goal that you will get 70% of the time, that was redundant, sorry, is you will end on a Magius, and then you will be able to rank 4 into Nyarla, and then an Azathoth, and that shuts off all of your opponent's card effects. So at this point, you are now shutting off hand traps, and you're going second, right? So if your opponent built a board, you were able to do this without activating any effects. So what you do is you play your first Crusadia monster, doesn't matter which, Ideally, you want to get Maximus at some point, but it doesn't matter which. And then you go into your first Magius. Then you use your 2 level 4s to inherently summon. You still haven't activated anything, therefore your only weakness at this point is a Solemn, because your opponent can't trigger any negates on board or in the hand because you've activated nothing. So what you do is you inherently summon your level 4s, go into Nyarla, then go into Azathoth, and as soon as Azathoth hits the field, their effects are shut off. And then you search with Magius because you've summoned it to the zone it points to, get your Draco, and you're ready to continue with your plays. Or if you opened really well, but not with your Maximus, but yeah, you'll search whatever Crusadia monster you need at the given time. And then you're ready to continue with the OTK, and that's it. But on the off chance that, there's that other lingering 30% that you don't open on the optimal hand, you still have Kaijus, and you still have, World Crown. And you may not even need to, but yeah, there's things like Called in here too. So there's ways to get around it, but now you've got a surefire way to get around your opponent's card effects. Now the 40% chance. That combo can happen, and it's not really a combo, it's just with more an assured victory. Like if your opponent's playing back row, the chances of you, I doubled that for some reason, that's weird, didn't mean to. If your opponent is playing back row, the chances of you opening on one of your back row hate cards, as well as the combo that I just mentioned, is 40%. So yeah, it's really good, guys. It is almost a guaranteed going second victory. But if they do make you go first, one option that you can do if you haven't side decked yet is you go into Avermax, because it's really tough to get rid of, and you will have searched a Crusadia power. So then you just make him immune to everything at that point, and then next turn you can most likely OTK your opponent because they couldn't get rid of Avermax. Unless they Kaiju him, of course, that's always an option. But even then, he's going to get to disrupt them a little bit. And from here, let's do the rest of the profile. We have Kaijus. Don't really need to elaborate, guys. Sometimes you don't get that Wombo combo. Just there's that 30% chance you don't. And hopefully if that happens, you've opened on another way to remove. So that's why that's here. World Crown is kind of a pseudo Crusadia monster. You just can't play it first. It's kind of there if you've already gone into your Crusadia links, then it's live. And it's searchable later on with Crawler. That's why I only have one. Then you got the second one if you need more negates. But I only have one in there because it doesn't necessarily have to be seen, but it's always good when you do see it. So that's why it's there. Then we've got our regular Crusadias. You've got Maximus. He is the damage doubler, so you want to make sure that you get him out at the right time. The rest of these are just inherently able to be summoned as long as you have a spellcaster, which is why you need to open on at least one Crusadia monster. Because if you do, you go into Magius, you have a guaranteed spellcaster. Now these are able to be summoned. And rather than put a couple of them in at 3, I put them each in at 2 because you don't want to open on 2 of each one. Like if I open on 2 of, I picked the largest name, not doing it. If I open on 2 of Gigabyte, I can't play both. So I put these at 2 to reduce the consistency of seeing doubles, but still at least see a few of them so that I can inherently summon and make my Azathoth. They have some other effects, but you don't use them, so you can research those on your own. Then we have Crusader Draco. He is one that recycles your Crusadia monsters, so I tend to open with Maximus, then recycle him upon the Draco if I open with Draco, if I can't. But if you can't do that, he's still good to recycle your other Crusadia monster. You can still link climb, so very nice. Then we have Leonys. He is there to allow you to inflict piercing damage if you need to. You usually don't, though. Most people aren't starting in defense position, I guess, unless you're like sub-terrors or like super heavy samurai, but I haven't seen those around for a while. Then you've got Reclusia. This is some removal, although you don't tend to use it, but on the off chance that you do, it's there. But it's just another Crusadia name. And Arborea is there as a tuner. Some people like synchros. I'm not using them because it's not necessary. But if you're going to go into more of a going first strategy, synchros are okay. You can make a Dawn Dragster to avoid getting evenly matched. And then you have, the protection effect, which works really well like Return of the Dragon Lords does for dragon monsters. It banishes itself without starting a chain, which is nice. so it can protect your Crusadia monsters if you do use it, but you had to go first and they're trying to remove it. It can be there as a protective thing. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It can be there for protection, whatever. Then because you're going second deck, you want a few hand traps, not too many. You don't want to clog your hand, but opening on an Ash is nice because you can stop your opponent from getting a crazy board and having to break that board. But if you don't, it's not the end of the world because, like I said, you can tend to get around it with making Azathoth. Then you've got Rhoda, which I've already explained. Crusadia Power is a searchable immunity spell, so it's nice to have in those pinches. But no need to have more than one just because it's searchable and you're already doing so much to protect your monsters that you don't necessarily need this. This is your back row hate because that's the one weakness of Crusadia is Solemns and just other back row things that stop your attacks and that kind of thing. Because you're very normal summon reliant still, you want to be able to remove back row. That's why you've maximized on it. So yeah, that's why it's in here. But the chances of opening on this and your combo are, again, only at 40%. But, you know, that's the highest I could get it with for consistency reasons. Then I have 2 Called by the Grave right now because it's a going second strategy, and we're already going for that Azathoth play before they could even hand trap us. So no reason to have that in here at 3 when you're going second. It could be a dead draw. Then we've got Testament. I've seen this experimented with, and I really like it because of this reason. If you do get made to go first, yes, you're going to choose to go second. And 90% of the time, you're going to get to because most decks want to go first. So you're going to get what you want 90% of the time. But if you do have to go, even going second, actually, I just realized this. Here, let me restart. I got all over the place. This helps you retain card advantage is what I'm trying to get out. So if you attack, but you couldn't quite get the OTK off, this can allow you to draw cards equal to at least this guy's rating. So you get to draw 3 cards. But it's also good for going first to stop any interruptions or anything like that because you're obviously not going to search this. Like if you haven't cited in everything you need, you could at least search this and get some stuff done with it. Then we've got Crusader Revival. This is another thing that enables the OTK. Sometimes you can attack into one monster per game, but sometimes you can't. So if they have multiple, this lets you attack all of them. And it gives you a nice 500 boost. So that sometimes is just the push you need to get the OTK off. And then finally we have Red Reboot because Solemns are a thing. We want to do our best to not get solemned or interrupted by traps. So that helps to just shut them down and then you just go for the OTK. Extra deck is pretty standard. I'll avoid some of these for now because they're for going first. But for going second, you're going to use Magius, Regulex, and Equimax for the most part. The others, oh, of course, and these 2. The others are there for the side engine, which I have for going first because when someone finds out you're playing Crusadias, they tend to just say, all right, fine, you try going first. 9 times out of 10, that's what they're going to do to you. And so I've got a tiny little Orchest engine in here. This is there for Salamangrates, by the way. It's pretty nice. And then I put in the 3rd Called because I'm going first. And then some Trap Interruption. This Crawler guarantees that you can blow up your opponent's field. So when I'm going first, I either go for the Orchest play or the Bomber Dragon play. Sometimes you can get both off, but if you can't, they're both effective ways to interrupt your opponent. To at least keep the game from coming to a close, because usually if you can last one turn and stop your opponent a little bit, you can OTK next turn. So when you're going first, you just want to throw in some cards that allow you to interrupt a little more, and that's all this is the Orchists are good at getting to this counter trap, which is nice, and then being able to Bomber Dragon their field is also very nice, which is why you see the Nightmares here. And then you can climb into a Decode Talker if you really want to, and either get a negate, an additional negate with your World Crowns, or just with being able to use his effect. Yes, you can use Equimax, but I tend to save him going first if I can. But it's up to you. Do what you want. So, yeah. Oh, the last one I didn't talk about. This one is World Lance. This just guarantees that if they try to attack you, that they will lose. So it's just something that you can search once you get Crawler out on the field. Once it hits the field, it searches for a World Legacy monster, so you can get this into your hand, and then you have a guaranteed, essentially honest effect. So yeah, that's it. That's the deck. It's really good at kind of just adapting to what the situation is. and it's really good at just not caring what your opponent makes you do. So I would highly recommend trying it, guys. I've seen a lot of success with it. It's probably my most competitive deck right now, because it gets to do what it wants. You don't have to go first, and the beauty of it is most people will choose to go first, and so 90% of the time you're going to get to go second, which is amazing. So yeah, if you get to go second, not only do you get your plays off, but you kind of get the jump on your opponent because they have no idea what's going on with you. Like, you're just letting them do everything, and then you just OTK. It's awesome. So yeah, guys, give it a try. Hopefully you like it. If you do, like the video, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. See ya.